The VCT Americas Stage 1 playoffs are set. We now know all 6 teams that will be participating, and it basically came right down to the wire as to which teams were able to qualify. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the final weekend of the VCT Americas Stage 1, and just recapping the whole weekend and talking about what's to come. So these are all 5 matches that happened since Friday, and we're going to be starting with Sentinels versus Furia. This was a must-win game on the side of Sentinels. Their playoff hopes was basically out of their control, but to even have a chance, they had to beat Furia. And looking for Sentinels, Furia is arguably the easiest opponent in the VCT Americas, aside from maybe MIBR. So this was a pretty easy win on the side of Sentinels. They were able to get that dub, but it wasn't able to qualify them for playoffs, but that was decided in the G2 and Loud match that we'll be talking about later. So looking at map 1, we did have Sentinels once again show their strong performance on the map Split. Bit surprised that Furia let this one get through, but they did ban Sunset instead. I guess they're not as confident on that map. But this ended up going pretty much how everybody expected and how Sentinels needed it to go, 13-5 in favor of Sentinels. 8-4 at the half, so not the most lopsided game quite yet, but then Sentinels were able to win 5 in a row to end the game. So to have a decent chance of making playoffs, Sentinels needed to win both maps basically 13-5 each time. They were able to do that on Split, but they weren't able to do it on Icebox. 13-9 in favor of Sentinels, Icebox being Furia's pick. Similar first half to the first map, 8-4 at the half in favor of Sentinels. Sentinels going on some pretty long win streaks to get that hold. And then Furia looked like they could claw back a little bit, winning the first 3 rounds of the second half, but then Sentinels were able to take that map and go. Looking at the team MVPs, we have Tens on the side of Sentinels, who went 45, 24, and 20 for plus 21. He has arguably been Sentinels' best player throughout this unfortunate stretch that they've been on. And on the side of Furia, basically the only player that I've been putting as their MVP, Noswer, 25, 27, and 10 for -2. So not great numbers there, but it was the best out of all the mediocre numbers of Furia. Sentinels end their stage 3-3, 3 wins, 3 losses. They weren't able to qualify for playoffs, but this match gave them as good as a shot as they were able to get. And going into this one, I just felt it was already too far gone, them making playoffs. They're going to get an easy win against Furia, but you know, they had to have G2 basically get completely stomped by Loud, which did not happen. So it's unfortunate that we won't be seeing Sentinels in playoffs. I do think they're a very fun team, and Valorant esports are funner when Sentinels are going on crazy runs. Whether you like them or don't, it always makes the product more interesting. But for Sentinels, maybe this is the best thing for them. They won't be going Shanghai. They'll have plenty of time to rest, cook up some new strats, and hopefully come back and really make a gun for it. For champions. And for Furia, the pain is now over, at least for now. We'll see how they do in Split 2. My assumption is they're going to make a roster change. Maybe we'll see Pancata. Maybe some other good Brazilian player comes in. I don't know. But this team needs fixing. There's some good pieces here, but it's just not cooking right now. So moving on to the heartbreaker match, we had 100 Thieves 2-0ing Energy. Now for context, I am an Energy fan. I was a really big fan of the Optic Core back in 2022, so having this Energy team, you know, last year being the new iteration of that, and this one also being that, but kind of combined with the EG roster of last year. And I wasn't happy about some of the changes that they made in the offseason, but you still looked at that team and, you know, maybe there's people being like, oh, I expected this team to be bad. If you're saying that, no, you didn't. You just didn't. You didn't look at this roster. Maybe you thought, oh, maybe the roles might not be very good. Their IGLing is iffy with Ethan, but everybody still looked at this roster and thought they should at least make it to an international, and they have now missed out on both of them. So this is really devastating on the side of Energy, but honestly, I'm not too mad at this point. I think all of my anger towards this team has already been passed from previous weeks. It just didn't seem like this team had what it takes to win, what it takes to really take over a match. They have some good pieces. There is some good things here, but it just isn't mixing right now. And a team like 100 Thieves, who was playing much better than them going into this match, they absolutely took it to them. And 100 Thieves absolutely do have the sauce. This team is looking dangerous right now. So looking at map 1, we have Split, which was Energy's pick, 13-8 in favor of 100 Thieves. Funny enough, the whole discussion around Energy right now has been their attack side has been straight up terrible throughout most of their matches. But on this map, it actually wasn't bad. They end the half 7-5, so they had the lead going into the second half. But this time, it was their defense that was the problem, because they then lost 7 rounds in a row to completely blow their lead and lose, only winning 1 round in the second half. They lose Split. And then Bayern just felt like a mercy killing at this point. 100 Thieves taking this one 13-7, their map pick. And this time Energy's attack struggles showed up once again, with 100 Thieves having 8 round wins on their defense side. Bit of a back and forth on the second half, but it just wasn't enough. Energy only winning 3, 100 Thieves winning 5. They take it, they win. Looking at the team MVPs for each team, we have EU showing up big, 32, 19, and 20 for plus 13. Ethan had a good individual performance, 27, 32, and 10 for minus 5. I really don't know if Ethan stays on as their IGL. We'll see if they make a roster change before the next split. I kind of don't expect them to. Maybe they just try to fix what they have, but you know, they might be looking at getting a new IGL. 100 Thieves end their split 1 going 3-2. Very, very good recovery from them after losing their first match to Sentinels. This team looks absolutely dangerous. I'm very excited to see what they do in playoffs. It's not going to be an easy run. Energy end their split 3-3. They were able to beat the bad teams. They won every winnable match aside from Evil Geniuses, and they lost every game that was a tough battle. Every game where it was like, clearly we can just outskill everybody, you know, MIBR, Furia, they were able to just stomp those teams. But when you're playing against these top tier talent teams, this is where push really comes to shove, and Energy just haven't shown that yet this year. They haven't shown that killer instinct. Maybe we have to get some kind of vibes guy on the team to, you know, really just kind of bring up the energy and get these guys motivated, because I know this team is better than this. I know they're not that bad. Just right now, the mix just isn't working. So we'll see what happens for Energy. I still like this team. I still hope they do well in Split 2, but it is looking kind of unlikely. So moving on to the clash of the Latin American Titans, we have Leviton versus Crew. This was the match that everybody was waiting for, which if you said that early in the season, you would have been very confused at people saying that. But yeah, this was a banner match. It delivered. The two top teams in VCT Americas right now, Crew had a perfect record going into this match, and Leviton were on a very good hot streak after losing their first match of the split. It did end up being a 2-1 in favor of Leviton, and it looked like at times it might have ended up being actually a lopsided match, but Crew were able to recover and really not make it easy on Leviton. But on the backs of King and Aspas, this team was able to weather the storm and take the match. Looking at map 1, which was Ascent, this did go in favor of Leviton 13-4, so this is what I was talking about it looking pretty lopsided at first. 9-3 at the half in favor of Leviton, going on a long winning streak, winning 7 rounds in a row to take that first half convincingly, and only allowing Crew to win 1 round on the second half. Leviton take this one on Crew's map pick. But then Crew were able to show why they were in the spot that they were in, why they were an undefeated team going into this match, because they do not quit. And at first, it seemed like Breeze was going to go in the same way that Ascent was. Leviton taking the first half 8-4, so only allowing 1 more win on the side of Crew than the first half of the first map. But then Crew gave Leviton a taste of their own medicine, winning 8 rounds on that second half, and they brought it to overtime. Having pretty much all the momentum going into that overtime, Crew were able to take the 2 rounds, 14-12 in favor of Crew. And then the last map was Lotus, which was a barn burner, but it did go in favor of Leviton, 13-10, so very close map. Crew taking a 6-1 lead early, but then Leviton were able to tie it up at the half. Crew won the pistol, but then Leviton winning 3 in a row kind of nullified that, and then Crew did get 3 in a row, but then 4 in a row for Lev. They take it, avoiding overtime. Looking at the team MVPs of both sides, you could have been talking about Aspas on the side of Leviton, but I gotta shout out King because this guy had himself a match. 56, 36, and 23 for plus 20 kill def differential. Incredible performance. He's been a very underratedly good part of this Leviton team, where Aspas seems to get all the attention. On the side of Crew, Heat continues his strong run, going 53, 46, and 21 for plus 7. Leviton end their stage 1 4-1. Crew end their stage 1 5-1. So Leviton breaking that win streak and confirming top spot in their group. Crew already had top spot confirmed going into this match, so it didn't really fully matter, but Crew, they still look very good. This was a big test for both teams. It was a great warm-up for playoffs. Both these teams only need 1 win in playoffs to qualify for Masters Shanghai. I think they're going to be able to do it, but it is possible that one of these teams gets upset in the playoff bracket. And if these two teams end up facing in, say, a winners final, I'd be very interested to see which team is more motivated to take the other one down. I think Crew can win in a rematch. This one was very close, and Crew having a bit more experience facing this kind of team definitely, I think, is going to help them in the long run. Moving on to the Sunday matches, we have C9 versus MIBR. And this was a pretty easy result on the side of C9, MIBR going winless through this stage, and C9 being one of the better teams in the stage. This didn't really mean much for either team. C9 was already confirmed in playoffs, and MIBR was already confirmed out of it. C9 couldn't have even gone the top spot. They were basically confirmed for second at this point, but this would have maybe made it possible for a team to leapfrog them, but didn't seem very possible. The only surprising thing about this match is the score lines of each map. So it was an overtime win on Icebox for C9, 14-12. C9 had a lot of chances to close this one out before overtime, but MIBR, to their credit, were able to give them a good fight. And it seemed like C9 was inevitably about to lose yet another first map. They hadn't won a first map going into this match. C9 won the first 6 rounds in a row, ended the half 9-3, but were only able to get 3 wins on their attack side. MIBR winning 5 in a row to bring to overtime. Then C9 said, okay, enough games. They won both rounds of overtime. And it seemed like something similar was about to happen on Sunset again, because yet again, C9 had multiple chances to close it out, and it took them a bit too long. 8-4 at the half, then C9 winning 4 out of the first 5 rounds of the second half. And then MIBR almost clawed back, winning 4 in a row, but then C9 did get the closer. Looking at the MVPs of each match, we have Oxy yet again on the side of C9, 56, 33, and 12 for plus 23. And on the side of MIBR, a formidable performance by FRZ, going 38, 37, and 8 for plus 1. C9 end their split going 5-1, looking like one of the better teams in the league. And MIBR end their split 0-5. Their pain, much like Furia's, is now over for now. I definitely do have concerns about C9 going into playoffs. This is a team that can grind games out, but doesn't look like a team that really can take super good holds on games and really hold good leads. They blew their lead in the first map and were able to win in overtime. Then they almost blew it on the second map. So they have G2 in playoffs as the first one. We'll see if they win that. I genuinely think that that's closer than maybe a lot of people think it's going to be. But we'll see. G2 definitely doesn't look like the strongest opponent ever, so we'll see how that one goes, but I'll get to my predictions later. Moving on to the last match we have to talk about, we have Loud versus G2. This game had a lot of playoff implications. So for Sentinels to make playoffs, they needed G2 to not only lose, but not win more than 13 rounds throughout the entire match. People in chat were counting the rounds, being like, oh, there's 3 to go for G2, 2 to go for G2. And I understand that this kind of stuff is going to get a lot of attention, but my thing about it was always, why are we paying attention to this? It's so unlikely that Sentinels make it at this point. It was completely out of their hands, and winning 13 rounds over 2 maps, it's a very easy thing to do. The funny thing is, it actually did come down pretty close to the wire. In the entire split, G2 only won 2 more rounds than Sentinels, so it actually was pretty close, but it just seemed like too easy of a win condition for G2 to be able to get, and I did expect Loud to take this one. Loud desperately needed this win. They had to beat this team to make it into playoffs over Evil Geniuses. They were able to do it, so now both of these teams are in playoffs. Looking at the first map on Bind, G2 immediately getting almost the amount of round wins that they had to. 13-11 win in favor of Loud on G2's map pick. 7-5 at the half, so pretty close. And then G2 taking a pretty good hold on it, almost winning the map, but then Loud were able to storm back and take it. Then on Icebox, G2 getting just enough as they had to. They needed at least 3 round wins, and they were able to do it. 13-4 in favor of Loud on a map that G2 has looked pretty good on, so definitely this is a concerning loss for G2, even though Loud is a very good team. First 5 rounds went in favor of Loud. G2 finally got 2, Loud got 3, G2 got another. 9-3 at the half, Loud only needed 4, they did get it. G2 only being able to get 1 round win on their defense side. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Loud, very happy to see Les again. He has had a rough split, but he did look very good today. 41, 16, and 8 for plus 25 for him. On the side of G2, Valen looking quite good, 29, 27, and 8 for plus 2. Loud end their very up and down stage 2 and 3. They're definitely not going to be happy about that. I really hope that what we've seen from them for the past 2 matches is a sign of them turning things around. Do not count this team out of making Shanghai. They absolutely can do it. G2 end their split 3 and 3, so very up and down for them as well, but they do get in the playoffs. They're against C9. It is a winnable match, but it's not going to be easy. So we'll see how it goes for both of these teams in playoffs. So looking ahead to the first round of the playoffs on Wednesday. I don't know why we're starting on Wednesday. I thought this was just supposed to be weekends. I guess they're just trying to run through it as quickly as possible. Anyway, C9 versus G2 is the first match. I'm going to take G2, honestly. I think C9, they've looked a bit shaky, and playoffs tend to be where C9 falls apart. So I'll choose G2 for that one, but again, I could see it going either way. The 100 Thieves versus Loud, honestly, I'm going to pick Loud. I know people are probably going to think I'm crazy. 100 Thieves looked like a much better team than Loud, but every time you count Loud out, they end up surprising you. So I'm not going to doubt them. This team looks like they're potentially back, and don't be surprised if you see them in chain high. So that's everything we had to talk about today. Let me know what you guys thought of all of these matches in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to be winning in the playoff stage? I will be making a video on my pick'ems and predictions of that in the next couple days. I'll try to get some other content out before the playoffs, but since it's on Wednesday, it's a very quick turnaround, so we'll see. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. Please click like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.